Hi, my name is Samantha and welcome to today's video. Today is going to be part 2 in the 18-foot curtain series. Let's get into it. If you haven't already checked out part 1 where we measured, cut, and pin the curtains, go ahead and check that one out and that'll give you the overview of this project and what it is that we're doing. If you've already watched part 1, welcome to part 2. Let's start sewing. So one of the panels I already went ahead and sewed together, so it's not as beautifully wound up as this guy is. I definitely got to take my thumbnail before I start this. But I figured out a way. It's definitely not perfect, but it's working well for me. My sewing machine does have the ability to unplug the presser foot and just work on its own, and that's the biggest key factor to me being able to do this because I'm doing this standing up, and that's how I'm managing the pile. But let me show you my setup and my idea of how I'm going about sewing the two sides. So we put the right sides facing, we pinned it together. So this thing's also full of pins. So I gotta make sure I don't stab myself too many times and take out the pins as we go. But let me show you how we're gonna go about sewing the two sides 18 feet long. Okay, here's my super fancy setup. So I have my really tall 4-foot table. See, that's my 4 trash can system. So you know where I am. Well, my mess is right there. I don't want to show it. But so I've got the panel right here and I've got my sewing machine in the middle. So essentially we're going to do like have the pile here and the other pile here. And I am standing up. This is at eye level. I'm going to turn down the speed. I've got a lot of white loaded up. I have a bobbin, a bobbin, and more ready to go. Although when I did the other side, I think I only went through 2, maybe 1 bobbins. So let me get it set up and show you how I'm going about doing this. Oh, and I have my needle in the middle and I have my little guide here at the 1 inch so that I can keep an even stitch. Here's the majority of the roll. I've unrolled it a bit. And so we're going to be working on one side. See how I already have it pinned? So now I just need to get it put under the presser foot and we're going to slowly work our way down. As we start working, we're going to have to unroll and then re-roll. So that's why the roll doesn't look that pretty. Plus, once we get to the end, then we've got to unroll it and work on the other side. So it's not the best system, but it's the best thing I can come up with without having 18 feet of material all over the place. Let me know if you have any tips or suggestions if I were to do another project like this in the comments down below. All right, we've already sewn part of the way. I gotta do a little more to show you, but I wanted to show you how slow I mean by me going slow. So let me get this all aligned. I'm gonna pull out my pin, set it right there. Okay, let's go. So that's how slow we're going. And yep, so here is our stitch line right there. So the selvage will be taken out. I'm going to keep going and show you once we've made a little progress. Okay, here is my concept of making the roll. So see, this is the inner layer, so I'm going to keep that down. And then I'm going to fold this over, and then right here, I'm just going to start folding. See, and make another sausage, but it's really hard to keep this one pretty. So I'll unroll the other side and keep rolling this one up the more I go. So it will slowly, this one will get bigger, the other one will get smaller. And that's the best way I've found to do this. Let me show you once I get about halfway through. Alrighty, we're about halfway through. This is the done side. This is the not done side. So you can see how much prettier this one looks because it's nicely folded. This one is not great, but it's also not too bad. Once I do the other side, that's when things are going to get real crazy. The nice part about doing it this way is I can keep stopping going. Today's a different day than when we started, so I was able to just backstitch, shut down my machine, and turn it back on to start today. So I'm going to keep going, and then I'm going to show you how I flip it around and do the other side. All done with the first side. Now to flip it around and do the other side, which is right there. So we're half done. Here is why it gets all messy. So what I'm trying to do is sew this side that's on the inner portion. So as this is coming out, I'm going to be folding the one that's done in and then making our burrito over here. So we're trying to get to this inner layer here. So I'm just starting off. I'll show you once we have a little bit of a burrito, but this is why it ends up looking like a mess because there's no way to do it nicely. Okay, we finally made enough progress to start rolling this up. You can see, like I said, it's a disaster. So let me show you how I'm rolling it up. I didn't even hit record. Okay, so see how I have two different, this is the end, here's the two different sides. So we put them both into the center, so it's a 4-fold, and then just start rolling it. And then it's not going to be pretty, but it doesn't matter because I need to unroll this anyways after the step. There is some shifting happening here, which is making me worry, but I am going to persevere and keep going and hope that this is happening because the other side needed it. We'll find out at the end. Hopefully I don't have to seam rip 18 feet of curtain. We'll find out. We are in the home stretch here. I have repinned because like I said that there is a gap. This is the gap, so I'm a little worried, but we're gonna keep pressing through. We're gonna get this done, and then we're gonna see how it turned out. We are at the end. I just got a back stitch and cut off the thread. I didn't even bother rolling it up at the end here, but let me finish off and then I'll show you what we're gonna do next. Okay, I put the sewing machine away for now because we don't need it for a bit. What we've got here is our two mess of a curtain piles. So the first thing I want to do is lay them out and inspect them on this side to make sure that I caught the inside of the selvage on both sides. The next step is that I want to turn it right side out and double check that the seam looks good. Then I'll turn it back to wrong side out, and then we need to get rid of the selvage. So I'm going to go do inspection, flip, and then we'll be back. Okay guys, so we're almost ready for the next step. I went ahead, like I said, and I inspected to make sure that I was on the opposite side of the selvage on all 4 sides. Then I turned it right side out to double check that the tension was okay. So like remember how it shifted a little, like just as much tension on one side as on the other, and that looked fine. And I was also checking to make sure that it fell correctly. So all looks good, so it's turned back wrong side out. And what I want to do next is I want to trim this down. And what I'm thinking is, so I could either pinking shear it, I could just cut it with scissors, or I could use a rotary cutter. But what I think will be quicker, easier, more efficient, because I have to do 18 feet times 4, is I'm going to use my serger, and I'm going to turn the blade on. You guys know that I normally don't use the blade. I'm going to turn the blade on, and that will cut this selvage off, and it'll also give us a finished edge. So I think that will, so we're going to reduce bulk by getting rid of this extra fabric here, and it will seal both of these edges so that when the customer goes to wash this later, even though this will be on the inside, it will prevent any sort of fraying or loose threads like this. Like, see how much the lining frays? So I don't want this happening along the whole line. And with this being so white, like look, you can see my hand, I don't want it looking all raggedy on the inside. So that is my plan. I'm gonna go ahead and serge all 4 sides with the blade on, so that'll trim down the fabric as well as finish the edge. Alrighty, we have 40 feet worth of panels that are cut and serged. This is everything that came off. We are finally on the next step, people. So we finished step 1, step 2, step 3. We are now on step 4. Find the center of the decorative and the lining, match them up. This is how you create the return. Straighten the top, and like straighten the top as in cut it straight. And then sew the top closed and turn it right side out. Oh, I'm so excited, guys. We're gonna get this. We're gonna do it right now. It's 10:31 p.m. How fast can we do step 4? I think this is gonna be our fastest step yet. Look how wonky the top is. Get that straightened up. Much better. Okay, let's go ahead and find the middle of both, pin it together. I found the middle of each by matching them up right here and then pulling it straight out. So that's the middle of this side, that's the middle of that side. Now I'll unpin this and we're gonna put the 2 pins together. There we go. So I've got it all pinned together, and you can see right here. So remember, this is the inside, so this is the outside in here. See, that's how the return is created. So we'll need to go ahead and sew along this line and then turn it right side out. So I'm going to sew it and I'm going to serge the top just like I did on the sides. But before I go to the sewing machine, I'm going to go ahead and get the other one ready to go. And I just rolled the rest of it up in a ball Same thing with the other one. And look, this one's pretty wonky too. I just matched up the two selvage sides, and then I'm gonna pull this over here so that it's tighter together, and I can go ahead and chop this off. This is what I chopped off the other one. I'm also lining up this line on my ruler as well as the line on the grid. So I'm cutting, it doesn't matter what line, but I'm just using this line here, and also the fabric is lined up on the grid on the mat as well. All right, it is only 10:45 and we are all pinned. We're gonna go ahead and sew and serge real quick. This will not take long at all. I forgot to show you guys, look at the crazy dust it made when I was serging the sides. 10:52 and they're already sewn. I just need to serge. I'm glad I'm gonna serge them because look, I just cut this and look how much it's already fraying. So let's serge this up and then turn it right side out. We're gonna finish this step in less than an hour. I'm so excited. It is 10:57 and we are officially done with step 4. This is definitely these have been the most satisfying birthings I've ever had and so rewarding. Oh my gosh, they look so good. So this is the side, this is the return, and this is the top. Let's go see what the next step is. The next step is iron the top edge, fold the top 3.5 inches and pin. Iron the top. Sew the top 4 millimeters from the right adjustment, and sew again from the top of the bottom 3.5. So I need to go rewatch the video because I don't remember exactly what this means, but I can iron the top edge, I can fold it 3.5 inches and pin, but I need to go rewatch the video to remember what this all means. I think I'm doing purple, 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 purple. So that's guess where I'm sewing it is the 2 different lines. So my ruler here does not have 3.5 inches, so I'm gonna go ahead and just mark 3.5 inches with a Sharpie. All right, now we have a 3.5 line. I'm gonna test on this piece, so it's not coming off of my finger. We're gonna test on this piece of fabric. Is it going to come off onto the fabric? Nope, we're good. Okay, so I could just put this under here, line it up to the mark I just made, and go ahead and iron. So I went to go grab the grommet container to double check that they will fit on this 3.5 inches, and it totally exploded when I opened it. So, you know, ouch, just stabbed myself with a pin. Oh my god, this is gonna look so good. So remember, this is the top, but this is the back. And look at the return. Ugh, looks so good. Okay, gotta do the other panel. And yes, they do fit well. Okay, I'm getting it. So here is the fold. Here's where our grommet's gonna go. So I need to sew along the bottom of this and the top of this. Wondering if I should like pin this part or not. I don't know. So I'm gonna go ahead and sew that up, and I'm gonna use the remember I said I was saving the top thread that the customer gave me. I'm gonna use that because this is showing. So from now on, any thread is going to be the thread that she provided me that matches the fabric rather than the white I've been using internally. Things are getting wild and crazy in the sewing machine. I didn't have any empty bobbins, so this actually is a white bobbin. I don't know if you can see the 2 different colors. Come on, zoom out. It has a white, see the white on the inside, and I just put the new color on top of it. So we'll see how this goes. Here's what it looks like on the back side. So here's the return. Here's the fold over of the top flap. Oh, I need to trim those threads. Let's look at the other side. So here is the top stitching. I did it at a 5.0 stitch length. And here is what the grommet will look like. It falls between the stitches, and I even put my tag in. This is definitely my proudest tag. Time check, it's 11:43. We have the second panel sewn up at the top, second tag installed. I installed the tag on opposite sides so that the tag can be installed the furthest away from the opening. I mean, it's going to be 18 feet up in the air. It doesn't really matter, but whatever. So yeah, I think it turned out really well. And this thread is a perfect color match. And it's really important that the bobbin was loaded with the right thread, because this is where I top stitched and this is the bobbin. So this is actually what's going to show. I am so excited. So tune back in for part 3, and we are going to work on steps 6, 7, and 8.